F-bombs, please. No.
The tennis world in June went completely off the rails. Serena Williams got a Wimbledon wildcard at 44 years old. A former Wimbledon champion was banned for 4 years. Casper Ruud got married, so he didn't have to play on grass. France's Tiafoe won the biggest title of his career.
That's all I got, so don't get that excited.
Taylor Fritz beat the Roland Garros champion for the 7th straight time. Stefanos Tsitsipas kept falling. Ben Shelton won a grass title after losing the first set in every match. A lucky loser won Queens. A 38-year-old Adrian Mannarino turned into a grass court wizard for about 4 days. Corentin Moutet swore so many times on the BBC that they took away his microphone. And somehow, all of that happened before Wimbledon even started. This was not a normal month. June was the month that tennis lost its hierarchy, the month the favourites disappeared, the month the grass swing stopped feeling like preparation and started feeling like a warning, because Wimbledon is now days away. Carlos Alcaraz is not there, Jannik Sinner is vulnerable, Djokovic is still chasing number 25, Zverev finally has a major, but now has a matchup problem he cannot escape, and the rest of the tour has spent the entire month acting like nobody is in charge. So before Wimbledon begins, we need to talk about the strangest month tennis has had in years. And the best place to start is with the week Queen's Club went insane. Queen's Club is usually an upper-class event. Neat lawns, polite applause, grass court tradition. Then June 2026 happened. Corentin Moutet beat Giovanni Impey-Perricard, which already sounds stressful, because Impey-Perricard hit a serve at 142 miles per hour. After the match, the BBC asked Moutet how he managed to return it, and Moutet basically reenacted his internal panic live on TV. He dropped the F word.
I would have to serve and I would have to...
Was politely asked to stop.
No F-bombs, please.
Then he dropped it again, and again, and again, until eventually they had to take the microphone away from him. Moutet later said he was joking. Maybe Kyrgios was rubbing off on him. And that was only one part of the Queen's chaos, because Adrian Mannarino arrived in grass season on a 9-match losing streak. 8 of those losses had come on clay. Then he saw his beloved grass. And because tennis makes no sense, Mannarino immediately became unplayable. He made the semis in Libima, then came to Queens and beat Jakub Mensik. Mensik had come off a strong Roland Garros. He had the lead. And then Mannarino did what Mannarino does once every so often. He made the match ugly. He made his opponent uncomfortable. And after the loss, Mensik couldn't hide how he felt. Then in great Mannarino fashion, he lost his next match to a British wildcard. That was just the opening act, because the actual final at Queens told us something much bigger. Francisco Cerundolo won the title, an Argentine winning one of the most traditional grass court titles in the world. That alone is strange enough, because Argentina and grass courts are not exactly a natural pairing. But Cerundolo did not just win Queens, he beat Tommy Paul in the final. Paul had won the tournament before, he took the first set, and Cerundolo still came back. 6-7, 6-4, 6-3. And that mattered because of what had happened earlier that month. One Cerundolo knocked the Italian prince out in Paris. The other walked away with the trophy in London. That is a big month for one family. But Queens was not the only place that was action-packed, because while Cerundolo was winning in London, France's Tiafoe was doing something even bigger in Halle. France's Tiafoe has always felt bigger than his trophy cabinet. His personality is huge. He's got the stage presence. But somehow in the Big 26, he had never won an ATP 500 title. That changed this month. Tiafoe beat Fritz 6-4, 6-4 in the Halle final to claim his first ATP 500 trophy, the biggest title of his career. And honestly, it was about time. But the best part about it is who he beat. Taylor Fritz had owned him. 7 straight wins. Tiafoe had not beaten Fritz since 2016, a full decade ago. And then in Halle, Tiafoe walked into the final, broke early in both sets, served like a monster, and made the head-to-head feel irrelevant. But Fritz's week still matters, because before losing to the final, Fritz beat Alexander Zverev, the brand new Roland Garros champion, and he beat him for the 7th straight time. That is not a rivalry anymore. That is a real problem. Zverev finally won his first major in Paris. He finally got the one thing that had avoided him for 13 years. But now he goes into Wimbledon with 2 nightmares. He has to avoid Jannik Sinner's draw, and somehow, he might have to avoid Taylor Fritz's draw as well. And Fritz knew what his week in Halle meant. This was one of those rare weeks where Novak, Carlos and Sinner were not playing the ATP 500s. But for him, the field didn't really matter. If he was playing well on grass, he has a chance against anyone. But the American grass story did not start in Halle. It started 1 week earlier with Ben Shelton. Shelton is starting to learn he is dangerous on grass. He won in Stuttgart, his first grass court title, and he did it in the weirdest way possible, by losing the first set in every match. That is not normally how trophies are won. In the semi-final, he saved match points against Jiří Lehečka in an insane tiebreak that went 16-14. Then in the final, he beat Taylor Fritz, who was the defending champion. And suddenly, Shelton had 3 titles in 2026 on 3 completely different surfaces. Hard court in Dallas, clay in Munich, grass in Stuttgart. He is quickly becoming a player who knows how to win everywhere. And he was not the only player using June to make his Wimbledon case. Alex de Minaur made the final in Libima. He looked solid all week. Clean, sharp, very de Minaur. Then he lost the final to Kamil Marchak, which is also very de Minaur. Marchak is 30 years old. He had never won an ATP title. Then in 1 week, he beat Felix Auger-Aliassime. He beat Daniil Medvedev. Then he beat de Minaur in the final. A perfect underdog story on grass. But the women's grass swing was just as strange. Donna Vekic won Queens as a lucky loser. She lost in the qualies, got back into the draw, then won the title. And in Berlin, Sabalenka lost to Pegula with a 6-love third set, which mattered because she had just lost another 6-love decider at Roland Garros. Back-to-back events, back-to-back deciding set bagels. Not exactly ideal Wimbledon prep for the world number 1. And suddenly, the women's Wimbledon field looked just as unstable as the men's. Sabalenka is number 1, but not settled. Andreeva is a new Grand Slam champion. Swiatek is lurking, Rybakina is always dangerous on grass, and Serena Williams is somehow back in the singles draw. Which brings us to the wildcard story Wimbledon wanted more than anything. Serena Williams is playing Wimbledon singles at 44 years of age. For the first time in a major since the 2022 US Open. She came back this month in doubles at Queens, played with 19-year-old Victoria Mboko, won her first match back, and when she was asked why she returned, she said she had nothing better to do. Now she has a Wimbledon singles wildcard. Emotionally, it's incredible. Commercially, it's obvious. Competitively, it's complicated. Because Serena on centre court sells itself. But that wildcard also means someone else does not get in. Someone younger, someone active, someone trying to build a career. That is brutal. But not every Wimbledon story this month was romantic. One of them was devastating. Marketa Vondrousova won Wimbledon in 2023. 3 years later, she has been banned for 4 years. Not for a positive test, for refusing an anti-doping test. The test attempt happened at her home in December 2025. A doping control officer arrived at around 8 p.m. Marketa did not submit a sample. She says she has never doped and that every test she has ever taken has been negative. She was tested again 3 days later. That test was negative too. But under anti-doping rules, refusing a test can be treated as a major violation. And the tribunal gave her 4 years. That is an early retirement. She is 26. She will not be eligible again until 2030. For a former Wimbledon champion, that is an extraordinary punishment. And the reaction from the other players has been strong. Because the issue is not whether testing matters. Of course it does. But players are also asking a human question. What does it mean for someone to show up at your home at night? How much control does the system get over your private life? And what should the punishment be when the violation is not a positive test, but rather a refusal in one moment? That is why this matters before Wimbledon. Because while Serena and Venus return as legends, another Wimbledon champion is effectively being removed from the sport. Someone else who looks like he is removing himself from the sport is Stefanos Tsitsipas. He is now one of the most uncomfortable watchers in tennis. Not because he is bad, obviously he is not bad. He is a former Grand Slam finalist, a former world number 3, one of the best players of his generation. But compared to what he was supposed to be, this is getting hard to watch. In Mallorca, he lost to Ignacio Busse 7-6, 6-3. Another early loss. Another week where he looked like a player trying to remember who he used to be. And this has not come from nowhere. He has had ugly losses across the season. A ranking slide that feels impossible when you remember how recently he was supposed to be part of the future of men's tennis. There was a time when Tsitsipas looked like he could win majors. Now he looks like a player trying his best not to retire. But while Tsitsipas is sliding, another young player is arriving with the exact opposite energy. Joao Fonseca is one of the names nobody will want early at Wimbledon. He is 19, he hits a huge ball, and after what he did at Roland Garros, he is no longer just a prospect. He beat Novak Djokovic in Paris. That is the kind of result that changes how everyone looks at you. Now he comes to grass with a game that could translate brutally if he finds the timing. But the concern is the body. He withdrew from Eastbourne with a shoulder issue. He's still listed for Wimbledon, but that is now part of the story. And if we are talking about sore bodies, we have to talk about Jack Draper. Jack Draper is back again. That sentence is becoming all too familiar. His talent is obvious, but his body has been the problem. But now, Draper has brought Andy Murray into his team. which makes perfect sense. Because if you're a British player trying to survive your own body and carry Wimbledon pressure, there are not many better people to call. Murray knows what it is like to have your body fight your career. And at Eastbourne, Draper made a winning return with Murray in his box. But the question is always the same. Can he stay healthy long enough for his talent to matter? And availability has become one of the main themes of the whole month. Nick Kyrgios came back this month. Sort of. Not in the clean, glossy comeback way. More like a reminder that he still exists somewhere inside all the injuries. In Stuttgart, he won his first match in over a year. Afterwards, he said he was mostly back for the fans. Then Halle gave everyone the match they wanted. Kyrgios against Shelton. 2 giant serves, 2 showmen. 2 players who could make a normal service game feel like a skills challenge. But then Kyrgios injured himself in doubles practice. And was gone again. And if there's anyone who doesn't mind taking a step away from grass season, it's this guy. Casper Ruud got married. And honestly, good for Casper. There are some players that you just can't help but cheer for. Ruud is one of them. With that all being said, the Wimbledon seeds are out. And the list feels strange. Not because the top is empty. There are still huge names. Sinner, Djokovic, Zverev, Fritz, Tiafoe, Shelton, Draper, Fonseca, and Mensik. But it does not feel settled. That is the difference. Sinner is the favourite. He has to be. He is world number 1. He is the defending Wimbledon champion. He won the title last year by beating Alcaraz in the final, but he's also coming off that Roland Garros exit. And now he has to remind everyone that Paris was the exception. And with Alcaraz out, the draw opens up. Djokovic is still there, which is the part of the story that never goes away. He is still chasing number 25, the slam that would put him above everyone. And if he is going to do it anywhere now, Wimbledon might be the place. Then there is Zverev, finally a Grand Slam champion. Finally free of the biggest question of his career. But Wimbledon asks a totally different question. Can he back it up? Tiafoe now has the confidence of Halle. Shelton has the title from Stuttgart. Draper has Murray. Fonseca has the upside. Mensik has the weapons. And that is the men's tournament. A field full of people who can scare you. And very few who can feel safe. And most of all, is Wimbledon about to be as crazy as Roland Garros 2026 was? I guess we'll find out.